Before we can even conceive of not seeking validation, we must first understand its origins. From the earliest moments of human development, our sense of self is not an isolated, internal construction, but rather a reflection. Jacques Lacan, a prominent psychoanalyst, introduced the concept of the mirror stage, suggesting that an infant's first recognition of itself in a mirror, or through the gaze of another, is pivotal. This is not just about seeing an image, it's about forming a cohesive sense of I based on how we are perceived by the primary caregivers. Imagine an infant, perhaps 6 to 18 months old, catching sight of its reflection. Initially, it might not fully grasp that the image is itself, but the joyful, affirming reactions of a parent or guardian, "Look, that's you," begin to tether that reflection to a nascent identity. This early interaction establishes a fundamental pattern. Our worth, our very being, is often affirmed by external responses. It's not just a philosophical abstraction, it's deeply embedded in our neurobiology. The human brain, particularly its social circuits, is wired for connection and feedback. Dopamine, often associated with pleasure and reward, is released not only when we achieve something, but also when we receive social approval. This chemical feedback loop reinforces the behavior of seeking validation, making it feel intrinsically rewarding. It's a mechanism that has, for millennia, facilitated group cohesion and survival. For hunter-gatherer societies, social standing and acceptance were directly linked to survival. Ostracism often meant certain death. Therefore, the drive to be seen, appreciated, and validated by the tribe was not merely a psychological quirk, but a fundamental imperative for existence. To never seek validation is not a binary state, but a spectrum, ranging from genuine self-sufficiency to pathological isolation. At one end, we find individuals who genuinely operate from an internal locus of evaluation. Their decisions, their self-worth, and their direction are primarily guided by their own values, principles, and sense of purpose, rather than being swayed by external opinions or the need for applause. This isn't to say they are oblivious to others or even immune to criticism, but their fundamental stability doesn't hinge on it. Think of a master craftsman meticulously perfecting their art, not for accolades or market trends, but for the inherent satisfaction of achieving excellence in their own eyes. Their motivation is intrinsic. On the other end, however, an extreme aversion to external validation can manifest as a defensive mechanism, born from deep-seated distrust or past hurts. This might look like a person who actively shuns any form of praise or connection, not because they are self-assured, but because they fear the vulnerability that comes with needing others. They might build walls so high that no external affirmation, however genuine, can penetrate, leading to profound loneliness and a stunted emotional life. The difference lies in the why. Is it a robust, well-integrated sense of self, or is it a protective shell? The truly self-validated person can still engage deeply with the world, contribute meaningfully, and form strong relationships, but their inner compass remains stable regardless of external turbulence. Their ability to give and receive without needing it to define them is what sets them apart. They might offer advice, receive feedback, or even enjoy compliments, but these interactions add to their experience rather than completing it. The liberation that comes from not seeking validation is multifaceted. Imagine a world where your creative endeavors, your career choices, your lifestyle, and even your personal appearance are solely dictated by your internal desires and beliefs. This freedom can unlock unprecedented levels of authentic expression and innovation. Artists might create works purely for their own vision. Scientists might pursue unconventional theories without fear of peer rejection. And individuals might live lives perfectly aligned with their unique values, unburdened by societal expectations. The mental energy typically expended on worrying about what others think, the endless rehearsals of conversations, the self-censorship, the constant comparison, is suddenly freed up. This reclaimed cognitive bandwidth can be redirected towards deeper focus, problem-solving, and personal growth. However, this path also carries its own unique set of challenges. One significant aspect is the potential for loneliness. While a truly self-validated person doesn't need external affirmation, humans are fundamentally social creatures. A complete absence of external feedback, even just acknowledgement, can lead to a sense of disconnect. Without the mirror of others' perceptions, it can sometimes be difficult to gauge our impact on the world, or even to refine our own understanding of ourselves. Our blind spots, normally revealed through the observations of others, might remain obscured. Furthermore, certain forms of societal cooperation and progress rely on a degree of communal validation. Scientific consensus, legal frameworks, and even shared cultural narratives are built upon collective agreement and mutual reinforcement. An individual entirely divorced from this process might struggle to integrate into larger systems, potentially becoming an outsider by choice or circumstance, missing out on the richness that collaborative human endeavor brings. A profound, often overlooked consequence of never seeking validation is the risk of constructing an insulated, unchallengeable worldview. When our beliefs, ideas, and even our moral compass are never tested against external perspectives, they can become rigid and absolute. This is akin to living in an echo chamber, but one entirely of our own making, where our own thoughts are the only ones reverberating back. Without the friction of differing opinions, the opportunity for intellectual growth and refinement can diminish significantly. Consider the scientific process. Hypotheses are rigorously tested, critiqued, and validated by peers. This external scrutiny is what allows for progress, separating robust theories from mere speculation. In the absence of such a mechanism in our personal lives, our assumptions can solidify into unshakable truths, even if they are flawed or incomplete. This isn't just about being wrong, it's about missing out on the richness that diverse perspectives bring to our understanding of the world. A person who never seeks external validation might develop a unique, unadulterated vision, but it could also be a vision perpetually out of sync with reality or deeply biased without ever realizing it. The philosopher Immanuel Kant spoke of the categorical imperative, a moral law derived from reason alone, independent of external factors. While admirable in its pursuit of universal ethical principles, even Kant acknowledged the social contract and the need for a shared moral framework. To operate entirely outside any form of communal validation of what is right or good risks creating a moral universe that is solely yours, potentially leading to actions or beliefs that are incomprehensible or even harmful to others, all while remaining perfectly justified within your own isolated framework. It's crucial to distinguish between genuine authenticity and the performative rejection of validation. True authenticity doesn't mean being immune to external opinions. It means having a strong enough core to process them without being consumed by them. An authentic individual might consider feedback, learn from it, or even adjust their course. Not because they crave approval, but because the feedback provides useful information that aligns with their own goals or values. The key differentiator is agency. Is the change driven by an internal desire for growth and self-improvement, or by a desperate attempt to conform or gain acceptance? Conversely, someone who loudly proclaims they don't care what anyone thinks might, paradoxically, be deeply entangled in the need for validation. Their rebellion is often a performance, a defiant stance designed to elicit a reaction, to be seen as independent, which itself is a form of seeking validation. The very act of rejecting approval can become its own form of approval, an ironic twist of human psychology. This subtle dance highlights the complexity of human motivation. It's not about eradicating the social impulse entirely. That would be to deny a fundamental part of our human nature. Instead, it's about recalibrating our relationship with it. It's about building an inner fortress of self-worth that is robust enough to withstand the winds of external opinion, allowing us to engage with the world from a place of strength rather than need. The goal isn't indifference, but rather discernment, knowing which external voices to listen to and which to respectfully filter out, all while staying true to an internally cultivated sense of purpose and self. To truly cease seeking validation is to break free from an endless feedback loop that can often dictate our lives. It's about recognizing that our inherent worth is not a variable dependent on external input, but a constant. This shift in perspective can fundamentally alter our experience of success and failure. Success is no longer merely the achievement of external markers or the applause of others, but the fulfillment of an internal standard. Failure, similarly, is not a catastrophic blow to our identity, but a learning opportunity or a natural part of a journey. Imagine a world where every action, every decision, every creative spark isn't first filtered through the lens of how will this be perceived. The sheer energy released from this constant self-monitoring is immense. It allows for a more direct, unadulterated engagement with life, where joy is experienced for its own sake, not for the potential likes it might generate, and where challenges are met with intrinsic motivation rather than a desire to prove something. The journey to this state is not a simple one, nor is it about becoming a hermit. It involves deep self-reflection, understanding our own triggers, and consciously decoupling our self-esteem from external metrics. It means cultivating an internal audience that is both supportive and discerning, one that allows us to be our most authentic selves, irrespective of the transient opinions of the outside world. Ultimately, never seeking validation isn't about ignoring the world. It's about finally truly inhabiting your own place within it, secure in your own skin, guided by your own light. It's an ongoing process of self-discovery, where the loudest voice in your head, the most trusted judge, becomes your own.